We are live. Happy Monday, everybody. It is Leah, Ryan, and Loft Manager Richard from the Pioneer Racing Pigeon Club of Ontario, Breeding 101, Episode 5. I think we pretty much should call this just like pigeon talk.
Yeah, we could.
Because it's turning into now just pigeon talk. which is fantastic. This is now turning into a community where we all come together and discuss all things pigeons.
Yeah, I think that's right. And I mean, again, it's like, Leah, me and Dad, they're in the kitchen. Some nights we'll talk breeding, and then the other nights we talk racing, and then we go back to breeding, and we go around and around. And I guess that's sort of how this is as well. Welcome, guys. Remember, thank you for tuning in to the show. Again, check out our YouTube channel, Feathers Elite Pigeon Auctions. Hit that subscribe link. That's all we ask. That's our tip for the show. You don't have to send us a bottle of vodka. You don't have to give us a thumbs up. Just hit the subscribe button. That's it. And participate along. Remember, these shows work when you participate.
That's right.
But the participation, the show isn't as fun. Definitely for us.
I'd like to say this show is pointed to a few groups of people.
Right.
The first group, I would say, is someone that does not know anything about pigeon keeping, but they're interested. They've heard about it, and they don't know anything. And that's where they may have missed already 4 of these episodes. And like you said, push the button or whatever you do to go back to...
Go to our YouTube channel. We have a plethora of different videos from our Pioneer Race Loft from start to finish last year's season. We've got already these 4 awesome episodes that we're doing here. And again, it's like what Richard says. There's different groups we're hitting. And you may be way advanced to this. You may have already won a national race in Belgium or anywhere in the world. But you're still going to learn. Because this is how you become a super pigeon man. You learn from people.
People that don't know anything, but they're interested. Then there's also people that know a bit, and they're sure interested. And there's people that know a little bit more and think they know it all, right? And then there's people that know something, but they can still learn. And then there's the people that don't need to learn anymore, but hokey pokey, they might learn something. That's what I'm saying. Could be.
What do they say? What do they say? Advice is free. Don't they say? Isn't that something like that, Leah? Hey, Leah.
So this is what this is for. It's for our whole group. It could be guys that have won 10 combines in 1 year. That is a super flyer, and it's nice that he's tuning in. Or she, and it would be nice to get a little bit of advice for someone that has maybe won 1 combine. Even
if you're a top show guy, you've won shows, and this you can still learn. Guys, just keep your minds open, your ears open, your minds open. See what you can pick up. See what tips that you're doing, that we're doing, that may work. And if you have ideas, again, throw them in as well. Leah.
Yes.
Are you still with us there?
I am. Sorry, I'm answering a message from auction. I'm sorry. I'm going to focus here now. We have a whole lot of people in the house, so I want to give a big shout out to Chris Withers, Cam, then Troba, Owen is in the house. We've got Ricky Cruz in the house, Robbie Taylor, and Henry Radar. Okay, guys, we are here to talk all things pigeons and pigeon related and answer your questions. What do you want to start with, Ryan?
Leah, did you see this morning the interesting little bit of betting video I sent you?
Yes.
I did a time lapse. We put some things out in the Avery, which we're going to show here in a minute, just to fire it up on how we've got the pairs out. The pairs can go do whatever they want now in the loft. They can go out in the Averys. They can go mess about. We put the straw out. We put the cut down weed clippings, the big, nice dried out weed clippings, and we put out the pine needles. And take a look at these videos that we're going to show you. It's quite neat. It really is to see what pigeons pick when you give them the option.
So I think I'll show the time lapse, and Were you surprised? I was surprised by what they picked.
Yeah, I mean, guys, put in the comments below what you think they were going to pick. They had to pick from straw, the weed clippings, the dried out weed clippings, and the pine needles. And Leah, when I asked you this morning, you were dead wrong on your first two picks were wrong.
My first.
Well,
I only had to pick out of 3, and my first 2 picks were wrong.
I have birds open hole in another loft.
Yeah.
And another property. And they say, here, go to it. I go down in the nests, and they're bringing back little twigs, like not dried out weeds.
Yeah, twigs.
Twigs, little branches, like little wee twigs.
Stuff you wouldn't imagine.
You wouldn't, and the nest is built like
Well,
it's unbelievable.
Leah, give us the old 24-second time lapse, and let's show the.
Okay. While
pigeons at work.
you guys were talking, we had a few votes because there's always that little 45-second delay. Mike Vanderyak says weeds. Henry Rader says pine needles. Mike Parrish says pine needles. And Ant Barloff says weed clippings.
Wow.
So
the weed clippings are in the lead. Let's see what the pigeons do, Leah.
Yeah, let's see who wins this.
Well, wait a minute. You know the great part is everyone got a vote. So that means we know pigeons will go for all of them. But Leah, go and play.
So this is like a time lapse thing.
But
meanwhile, you had the camera on for what, an hour?
No, I only had it on for about 40 minutes. But let's see.
Right.
Go ahead, Leah.
Hopefully this is the right clip. If it's not, then we're going to start again. But here we go.
All right.
Here we go. Hold on. Let me put you on one side and... Oh, there we go.
Oh, there's that time lapse. Man.
Oh, jumping.
You're feeding the birds out there this morning. Boy, they love eating. Look at them go, eh? Devouring it. And again, guys, yes, we do feed them out in the aviary. Yes, we do feed them out on the snow, out if it's raining. That's where we feed them.
What will it be? What will it be?
What will it be? Remember, on the far left's the straw, and the middle is the weed clippings.
And now
and the far right.
Every time you see those birds take off from that spot,
there we
at
go.
that time you couldn't hear it. There was a blue jay out there and a crow.
Do you see? So the time lapse has stopped. What do we see? So on the right, we have straw.
On the left, we have straw.
On the left, okay. No.
On the left of the picture, you got your straw. They went in there a little bit. In the middle, we had the weed clippings. And on the far right, we had the pine needles. The weed clippings today, they crushed it. And again, if we show the other video, it's a little bit longer, but you'll see how they're making the nest with those weed clippings. The nest bowls are just really starting to fill up.
If I can ask you, okay, so I'm on the left of you, but looking at the camera from here, I'm on the right.
Don't worry.
It was anyway. The winner was the weeds.
The weeds.
Yeah.
And perhaps I should show the video of them making their little nests because.
Go ahead. Yeah. Put that on.
Now these nest bowls were empty. What, yesterday?
Yeah, actually, I had found nests that birds were making already nests in, and I wanted to put the paper wrap nest bowls in. So I took the nests that they had already just started. You could see they were making. I threw them out, and I put the paper bowls in.
So this nest material's been in for a day or two.
Yeah, not long.
No.
But you're going to see here. Go ahead.
All the bowls are empty prior to this.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
You just start to see where they were just starting.
Yeah.
So go ahead, Leah, and play this next little clip.
Okay, so I hope this is the right video clip. If not, Ryan, just watch, and if not, explain what it is we're watching regardless, okay?
Okie doke. Well, normally I talk in them, but.
So no, that screen.
Well, there's nothing on that screen, Leah.
No. Okay, well, apparently that video doesn't.
No, there we're back. I'm sorry, guys. Again, like I said,
I'm going to try again. Hold on.
Try it one more time.
Try it one more time.
Nope.
Okay, it doesn't like that video.
It's not liking it.
Maybe we can play this one. Let's see this one.
Nice. Yesterday we put the weed clippings, some straw, pine needles, and to my amazement, the proof there is in the pudding. They're really going for the weed clippings. They went through the needles, again the straw. We're going to add more weed clippings. We'll go in and take a look at some of the bowls, as you can see. Oh yeah. All weed clippings. See that?
Mhm.
Oh, a little bit of straw. That pair preferred the straw.
How much? Half?
Yeah, they're really starting to go to work on these here now. Again, here the pair above there, they were into feathers. Look at the feathers they pulled.
Oh,
Even taking
Isn't that
feathers.
something?
yeah.
But there you go.
There we go. So you see it. You see
Yeah.
them building their nest. You see the nesting materials. I know I was surprised by what they picked.
Interesting. I mean,
I spoke with a guy some years ago, a gentleman some years ago. That was a not too bad a flyer. I'm not going to mention any names.
Mhm.
And he says to me, you know, I show my pigeons 3 times how to build a nest. And then he said after that,
Mm.
boy,
oh boy,
basically, I might eliminate them,
boy,
uh,
boy.
and I didn't say a thing.
You
I
must
just-
have been. You must have been internally laughing, Ricky.
Yeah, I just kept quiet, and I thought, boy,
This is backwards.
is that right? I put in empty nest bowls,
Mhm.
mandarin boxes,
Mhm.
what you've seen there,
Yeah,
or
the
whatever.
tangerine boxes, yeah.
Tangerine boxes. Empty. I just start off empty
Let them
and
build.
just say,
Go to work.
go.
And you know what? It
And-
is.
and
It is nice when you see what I call a dumb pair that don't build a nest, and they put them in the. They put 2 pieces of straw and they lay them on the wood. You know what I say? I get so turned off. I don't even want the pair of pigeons. Just
But I'm saying I don't show my pigeons how to build a nest. I
Let
let
me-
them go to it. But sometimes
mm,
they overbuild.
okay.
Now, then it gets
Hey,
a little bit
My,
dangerous.
my question is: did a pigeon ever show you how to drive a car?
No.
Common sense, guys. But those 2 videos right there are very interesting to see, especially with the time lapse on how they go at it. Any questions, Leah?
No questions yet. Shall we move on? Did you want to move on to pairing, perhaps?
Yeah.
Maybe we want to introduce 2 special guests that we will be following along throughout this
Yes.
breeding season. Guys, if you have questions or something you guys want to talk about, please put in the comments below. Frank says pine needles. Yeah, I honestly, pine needles is what I thought they were going to gravitate towards first. Meanwhile, it's the damn weeds that Ryan cut from the garden.
Yeah. That's
So I'm just going to say, Frank said it.
yeah.
But Frank, did you give them the options of what they would like to build? If you put pine needles only,
They'll
they'll
build
go
it.
after. Or maybe you put straw and pine needles, they'll go after that, right? But give them an option onto what they want, right?
Right.
And then see. But if you only put pine needles or only put straw and pine needles, then they have no other option.
No.
Like we could try shredded paper.
Well, right.
We could try,
We could have put the shavings, right? And
Shavings.
and again, pigeons are going to build. I seen there was a cute thing. A guy, I think it was just advertising, but he put dollar bills,
Oh,
and the
okay.
pigeons were picking up the money. It was the Chinese money and making a nest bowl. That's cute.
Yeah.
But they'll make it pretty much. I think with
The
The
anything.
best thing is $20 or $50 bills
Well-
and rip them up into little strips.
Well, you know what? Those a lot.
Try
But now the new money, you
try-
can't rip it anymore, so you got to get scissors to cut it.
Mm.
So Ant Bar Loft is asking, why do you think they picked the weed clippings over everything else? Because that
Well-
would have not been my first choice.
Okay, well, if you watch, and again, we're going to bring in a nest bowl. I got no problems. We're going to bring in a nest bowl that they made with the weed clippings. And if you see how the weed clippings, when you cut it up or break it up or rip it out of the grass, you stuff it into we just stuff it into a feed pail, and you pull it out in one big chunk, and you hold it up to the light, you see light through it. Light means what? If you see light, that means air's going. And what's the secret to healthy pigeon lofts? Healthy pigeons, dry.
But Troy asked the question. It was Troy.
Yeah.
Wasn't it?
Why do they pick it?
Why? Why? Because I guess they're smart enough to know I have to aerate
The nest.
the nest.
Right.
I guess.
They can't be
probably
stupid.
what
They
it
come
is.
from 600 miles, right? They have some brains in their head.
And
you know what happens is-
you know, another thing, I think what's an important learning lesson here is if they're going for the material in which they think Mother Nature has taught them will build me the best nest with the most ventilation. What are they concerned about? They're concerned about airflow and respiratory, and there's a reason, right? There's a purpose to why things happen.
Yeah.
And so that's to tell you that, you know, that birds need, they know, they're focused that airflow, good air quality is important to the quality of life. Whether it's in a nest box, or in your loft.
And you know what's amazing?
think
You want to
it's
know what's
important.
you want to know what's really amazing? Those are stock birds. Most of those pigeons haven't never been out to fly and had to field.
Yeah.
And pick the materials they want.
Yeah, they're
But
actually.
isn't it funny? We
yeah.
put it out there and that pile went down of
Yeah,
Mother
the other
Nature's
thing- what-
Mother Nature's
Now, Mike Vanderyak says many lofts use nest pads only, no nest material. Well,
Yes, I
that's
see that in
another,
Europe a lot.
That's another. Do you guys provide a nesting material for your breeders, or do you just put the nest felt and the nest bowl and tell them have at it? We saw in the video that there were birds who had actually made a little nest out of feathers.
Yeah. Well,
So if you don't provide it for them, do they provide it themselves?
well, they'll hunt in that loft for whatever they can get
Well,
their
that,
hands
that
on.
pair that was going after feathers, there was nesting material in there, right?
Oh yeah, they had more than just feathers. They
Yeah.
had straw
So
feathers.
they went to pick up feathers.
And they could maybe even feel that they're going to be dropping quicker. Maybe we didn't have the material out quick enough for them.
I
But-
think if you look at a feather, it's a hollow material, really. In the center part of it, it's almost like a straw,
Yeah,
and
sure.
that is
It'll work.
they like to
And,
get
and
their,
you
their
know, Mike says, do pigeons get bored? Meaning, do they do it just out of boredom?
Hey,
I mean, like
I-
Dad had said, he's seen nests where they're just overbuild. They build it a foot high. Like, why is that?
I think pigeons. I think Mike has a. I don't think it's called boredom.
they're adventurous.
I think they want to build their own nest, and I think nest pads is good. The young ones can they can be on there. The keels will be fine.
Good, nice keels.
Yeah, they're going to be sitting on something that's soft. They won't get a dented keel. Sometimes when
Yeah.
you got no nest material, they're sitting on a bowl with nothing. Next
They're
thing you
done.
know, they're keels. And also, when they're sitting on that nest bowl without enough material, the young ones will put their legs out like this to try and keep themselves balanced. And the next thing,
What do they call that?
you get the legs are spread open,
Yeah.
right? And I think they love building. Let's build.
Well, you know what? And sorry, Leah, can I step in?
I've had
We worked on a section today, which we're going to show here in the next clip or so. We worked on a section, individual breeding room, and we have our race birds, a section of cocks beside it, race cocks, and they're out in the hallway, and we're in there working, and the door's open, and we're taking things out of the section, and this section was just opened. And it was so nice. We'd come out of the section to cut a piece of wood and we'd have a drink and we're laughing and we're talking. We'd go back in and all the cocks that went into the section and they're checking it out and they're going,
A bunch of them are in
well,
there.
hey, wait, what's going on
Just
here?
like curious kittens.
Kids, that's
Yeah,
right.
kittens.
Kids,
Yeah.
whatever. They want to get into that little bit of mischief. And I think, maybe is it boredom? No, they're just real curious and intelligence. I mean, that's what you were seeing there.
Okay.
Go ahead, Leah.
So I have a couple, a comment, a question, and then I have a question. So let's do this here. Mike Vanderyak says, I think they do get bored. Idle hands are the devil's workshop. I keep them distracted to keep them happy. Okay, so, I mean, that's a good point. How does one keep them distracted in the winter when they can't go out and loft fly? So that's my point to that. Secondly, Henry has a question, and I want to post it because I think it's a good one. Do they use the same nest every round, or will they make a new nest? So it's kind of two questions. in a
And
comment.
we're going to show that, Henry. If you if you were only to have, I guess, nest boxes, you have one nest box and one nest bowl for the pair. They'll lay in that nest bowl again when the babies are anywhere from 16 to 20, 22 days. The next round of eggs will go in there, and then it really becomes a big.
It's not good.
It's a mess. If you in the nest bowl, in the nest box, if you allow them to have another nest bowl, and that's where we were using, like I say, you raise the second nest bowl up, maybe put it on something so the nest bowl's up higher than the second nest bowl, right? The pair will go normally onto the second nest bowl, and the babies will stay in there. I always say make sure it's high enough so those babies don't climb up and in, but we like to wean our babies nice and early. Between 16 and 20 days is when we wean.
Yeah. 16 days old.
Perfect.
When the tails are about an inch long,
Inch.
take them away.
And they're going to be real wet under the wings, soaking wet.
They're going to be, they call it, and some people don't know what that means, wet. Some
Right.
people, again, we're talking to people that never had pigeons. So they're looking for wet under the wings, but they look and the wings are bone dry. So it's not wet. Wet means
Skin.
no feathering under the wings.
Just skin.
Yeah, and you
Yeah.
could you could see. So that's when I take the young ones away. I take them away. Soon I start to see the pairs starting to fool around. They're totally off, the young ones.
Yeah.
The young ones are 16 days old.
And the loft looks
You can-
like
you
the
can-
loft when you're out in the aviary, you see the cocks are just pushing the head, just
Well,
pushing.
they're starting to push a little
Yeah.
bit. To that driving means, which the beginners again won't know. The beginner may get his first pair of pigeons and get a pair of young ones, and then all of a sudden he starts to see he should see it before she lays her first round, but why is he chasing her around? He's chasing her all over the floor. This may say that cockbird's a crazy bird.
Yeah.
I may have to get rid of him. No, this is natural. He's driving his hen for the next nest, so she loses weight. That's what the deal is, so she can easily pass that egg.
That's right.
Okay, so soon your young ones between, I'm going to go early, 12 days old and 16 days old. I take them away from the parents, and the parents go automatically. They want to make another round, they go right back in that bowl.
Yeah.
And they make a new net. They'll make another round of young ones.
And
The idea of that is to take the pressure off the parents. I always make sure that the young ones can see the parents eating, okay? If they can do it from their box, or if I have a little dish in the box where I'll put the egg food in,
Yeah.
a spoon of egg food, then I might even put a
Right.
spoon of all-in-one grit,
yeah,
or I might put a spoon of nice feed that they like,
yeah,
and they're in the box, and they're eating that feed, and the young ones at 8, 9 days old, their eyes are open, and they watch the parents
Well-
eating. So by the time you go to wean them at 12 or 16 days old, they're ready to live.
yeah.
And I believe it teaches them to learn early. I've seen some birds, guys have beautiful young ones. They leave them with the parents till they're 5 weeks old. What, 35 days old?
Yeah.
Yeah. They're flying off into the box and down. They put the feed down. The young ones stand back and watch. The parents are eating. The young ones, they're not educated. Do you know what I'm saying?
Well, yeah, they become.
They become,
I hate
like
to say it, they become spoon fed.
spoon-fed, and that's not good.
No,
They have to learn how
get on
to
the bike.
get on
Now,
that
of
bike.
course,
and ride.
we're going to follow along as we will all breeding season and watch how you guys do it. I want to get back to the issue of boredom in the wintertime because Mike Vandriak has some ideas. And what are your ideas of how to beat the boredom? Because in the winter of your birds, if we discussed in episode 4, it's not a great idea to let them out because of hawks or other predators or whatever in the wintertime in at least Canada where we live. How do you beat the boredom?
Well, and again, beating the boredom can be, if you hear cocks are all in a section and you have a hallway, give them a hallway, every couple of days, let them go out and play in the hallway, or let them go out to the aviary, give them a bath. I think things like that. I mean, what can you really do?
To beat the boredom in the winter.
You know, that's why.
Have them in a nice fly pen. Let the hawks scare them.
Let me add what Mike Vanderyak said that he does to perhaps beat the boredom, and you guys can talk about it. The hens don't go out in the winter, so I lock the cocks in the aviary. Oops, I missed. Hold on. Okay, so I lock the cocks in the aviary for an hour every day, and let the hens have the full run of the loft to give them a change of scenery. Like convicts, they get an hour of yard time. One of the reasons I fly the cocks in the winter is to address the boredom. Once mated, lots of nest material keeps them happy. I will also occasionally let the cocks and the hens run together in the winter for a few hours. Those are some things that he does to beat the boredom.
So those are birds that he has already mated, ready to mate, right?
Yeah, he'll let them mingle maybe once a week for a couple hours. Like he said, he lets the cocks out. He lets the cocks exercise, which, hey, if you're getting by and you know how to do that without the hawks nailing you, then, hey, I think that's all the power to you. I think that's good.
Good idea.
I mean, again, giving them baths. If you have a hallway, letting the cocks out into the hallway and just kind of go up and down and bounce around and then put them back in the room a few hours later, that's fine. There's only so much you can do.
Chris Withers says, in my opinion, when I see the pigeons build a nest, I think it's a good indication that they are healthy and settled and happy in their environment.
Yes, that's number one. I think
that's true. I was, you had that video on today of them. It's kind of like a fast motion
time lapse.
And I said to Ryan, I said, can the people not slow that down so they could watch it slower? Because I was looking and watching the birds in the fly pen, and I seen birds grabbing weeds that were 12 inches long and having a hard time to fly up in.
The problem is the time lapse only has one gear. But the interesting part was there was 3 things to pick from, and they just devoured the weeds 2 days in a row.
Do you know, the interesting part is what I had said to do is perhaps we are going to focus in on a breeding couple, which we're about to introduce. And I think an hour a day, we are going to video them live on Facebook and watch them every day, daily, on how they mate and lay eggs and care for their babies. I think it's something very interesting to watch and follow.
Right. And Leah, I know today, like we talked about, and how the cocks came into the section that we were working on. This is an individual section that we put together. This is for a pair that we've wanted to pair together for a while, and we're going to do so. And Lee, if you want to show this video of our individual breeding section, again, it's not the most fanciest.
No.
But
so this is the one with the nest bowl in the corner, right? That's
the one with the green nest bowl in the corner. It's a green plastic nest bowl with a nest felt. Individual breeding section.
This is basically going to be our studio where we are going to watch the 2 pair, the couple that Ryan and Richard are going to bring on after I show this video. We're going to watch them and follow them along throughout the breeding process, and it's going to help to learn and teach breeding. So this is the section that has been built for them. Ryan, I'm going to show it right now. Hopefully this is the right video. Here we go.
Okay. Here we are looking at an individual breeding section. Again, about 50 inches wide, all 6.5 feet tall. Again, we got all the granules. This will house the pair of the Seagull and Miss San Diego. Again, you see the ledging, an individual pair, nice granules. Light.
Some perching area there.
Yeah.
Right. Can the people hear me?
I don't know. Just hold on. We'll talk about that in a second.
There we go. So that is the breeding section that we have prepared for this very special cock and hen, which we're going to pair together. Ryan, you explain what we're going to do.
Okay, so that's an individual breeding section that we're going to use. We have, in the past years, We have tried individual breeding pens. We've tried the rabbit cage thing. We've tried that. No success there. I just didn't like the quality of any of the youngsters that came out of that. And again, we call it the rabbit cage. It's basically a 2x2 like a big rabbit cage, 2x2. The birds can't fly up. The birds can't move.
15 inches deep.
Yeah, maybe
Like
maybe 24 by 24.
Yeah,
and 16, 18 inches high.
Yeah, not even that high. Yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
And we've had pairs in there, fantastic pairs that breed super strong youngsters when they're out in the loft. And put that same pair in that system, and the hens I find get very gassy. It doesn't.
Gassy. But what we mean here is,
Yeah.
when you put pigeons in a confinement like that, we've noticed
Similar
pigeons
to
don't like-
a garage setting, even a
Yeah.
garage setting.
pigeons don't like to crap in their own box. That's basically when it's that small.
Yeah.
They feel like
And
really, and that's where the hens get gassy.
Yeah, and I never seen such dirty eggs.
Yeah,
We like to pop eggs in our mouth to moisten the eggs.
We do.
It's something we do, and we're going to show
Yeah.
that as we go. These eggs, you wouldn't do that. They were just,
no.
and we had done about 8 pair in our store, in our garage.
We thought one winter we're going to
Take on the world.
take on the world and raise the nicest youngsters that was ever on this planet.
And what did we do?
And
I think they
it
were all
didn't-
garbage pail
It
pigeons.
didn't work out. It
No.
was like
Now,
it was almost like trying to grow a tomato in your basement.
Yeah.
Like
I have
take-
a comment from Shaquille. Shaquille says that is too big for one pair. Most people can't have such a big space. And there's a difference between that section, that little special section, and then your own breeding loft, right? Which we're going to show throughout the series.
Right. And again,
I say if you want to put a pair together, have the box about 2 feet wide, and have the darn thing about
Yes.
3 feet. Just wait,
Yes.
3 feet tall,
Mhm.
and probably about 2 or 3 feet deep.
yeah.
So the pair, and you could have
You gotta have-
up about a foot off the base of the unit.
Yes.
You can have a ledge where you could have a nest bowl in there, and then up higher you could have a perch
Yeah.
or even another nest bowl
Another
on a
nest
pad,
bowl. We
right?
have that.
And put it on the opposite side if
Yes.
you're going to put another nest
Mhm.
bowl on the opposite side, so the pair can fly up, go to or fly down. The cock and hen can tread easily.
They got to be able to move a bit, and I'll tell
Move-
you,
a little bit of movement.
and movement is not walk around. It's like he said, being able to go up 2 feet or 3 feet,
No,
up and down,
no,
up and down.
You know, someone might say, "Oh, that area was too big." Okay, fine. I'm just telling you, if you can go to this area, I'm telling about 3 feet tall, 2 feet wide, 2.5, 3 feet deep. So fly up and down.
But guys,
Hey guys,
there-
you might
there's a-
say,
there's
"Hey,
a difference.
let me finish. Let me finish." I was one day on the street and I seen a guy in the backyard. I said, "Holy jumping, he's got pigeons."
Mhm.
And I knocked on the door and I said, "Hey, I see you got pigeons. You know, I keep pigeons too." He said, "Yeah, come on, come on in." He had a little garden shed. I'm not kidding you. I couldn't believe my eyes. The man was breeding pigeons in canary cages. You know the ones that go up and go like this? Like this big?
It holds 2 canaries. He
Holds
was
two
he was breeding.
He had a
pairs.
pair of pigeons in there, and he was breeding. Now I don't know what his success rate is.
Right.
I don't know what.
Well, I was
you know.
with you, and the birds.
This guy
the
wasn't in racing pigeons.
No,
He just had
The pigeons looked like they went through the war. Okay, Leah, you had a point. Leah had a point. Go ahead, Leah.
Okay. I don't know. I forget what my point is because you guys went on. But
Yeah, I cut
Glenn
you
is asking, what are the indications of a gassy hen?
Oh, you can feel them when you pick them up.
Yeah, you feel their back end. They're gassy, and then
They're almost
A lot
they're almost like, here's a great way. You go to McDonald's or KFC and you eat a little bit too much, you get that bloated feeling, right? I know when we pick up the hens or the cocks, you pick them up out of the we'll call it the rabbit cage, the way we did it.
Yeah.
You'd pick them up, hold them for 2 seconds, and it was like an explosion come out of their butt.
Yeah, they'll
It was
even-
just like
Crap in your hand.
crap in your hand, but it wasn't crap like you could pick up with a marble. You could have used it as hair gel.
I was thinking today, I was going to show the people, and we will do that next day, and I know if you've had pigeons for 60 years and you've won all kinds of combines and you've won all
Yep.
one-off races and you've won every pigeon show in the book, so you pretty well know this. But for some people that don't know, your pigeon dropping should be about the size of a marble, should have a little white cap on it. You should be able to pick it up and put it in your pocket.
Get
Okay,
pretty close.
That's a healthy pigeon.
Yep.
But when you see a pigeon, like you say, in this situation, and he's
With the
you can
KFC,
just feel-
KFC diarrhea. That's what
just
we're talking about.
hanging on, and all of a sudden,
When you take him out, he knows. You know how smart they are? They know they came out of the cage. And what is the first thing he does? He just goes, "Hey, sorry, I gotta have one hell of a crap."
we seen
Okay.
that. So
So now the debate starts with individual breeding pens and regular breeding situations. So Mike Vandriak says, in a regular loft situation, I think individual boxes are a mistake. The birds don't get the proper care, baths, supplements, etc., and they get bored and cramped. There are no
Yes.
advantages unless you are always remating a cock to different hens. Not worth the effort.
I think Mike has a good point.
You know what? I will be honest.
But there's a but on that.
What's
So
your but?
You can.
Okay, what did you say?
Okay, so-
Fire it in again. Go ahead, fire it back into me.
Okay, there is some concerns where you may have a super pair
Mm-hmm.
that you want to keep together
Mm-hmm.
because you don't want by accident, and I've seen it happen,
Right.
that
Another cock treads the hen.
the other cock just kind of slips in and boop, dreads the hen. And, it just is, so you want to kind of make sure that this is the hen and the cock. Now, I know what Mike says. The room, what we talked about is great. And what I like is I always like to have
Wire.
halfway up.
Yes.
I like to have an area where the cock
Competition.
can see the cocks next door or in the next box.
Mm-hmm.
And there's that competition where this is my girl and
I'll fight for
yeah.
it.
Now, if you have that box totally sealed off, a lot of times the guy's going, "Oh
Well, I'm bored. I'm
well,
bored with
you're
it.
my,
Well, and
yeah.
and again, that section we made. You know what's great? Tomorrow,
right."
the race cocks will go out into the hallway, and the old cock will look.
Yeah.
He has to keep the show
Well,
going.
that's right. I mean,
Yeah.
I've seen it closed off, and the cocks get bored.
Flat.
Yeah, it's nice if you can have a little small aviary that they could go out and
Yep.
get some direct sun, feel a bit of wind, get a little bit of rain on them, whatever, right?
So,
Yep.
so
So-
we're going to be following along two different scenarios. The individual breeding box, where we're going to follow the cock and the hen along, and then the breeding barn, as we call it, where you guys have it's a free kind of, not a free for all, but you know.
Well,
what I mean.
yeah.
There are pairs that have been paired up, but they're going. You know what? The odd cock may tread the odd hen. We're doing it the way a lot of different people do it. We have an individual pair that we're focusing on. We're going to bake the cake two ways.
Two ways, and we're going to show you guys and talk about both ways and what happens in both situations.
The ideal way in that section is you can have a little aviary that
Yeah.
pair can go into their own aviary.
But hey, you know what's great?
We've seen it so many times in Europe. They have those individual breeding boxes.
Mm-hmm.
They have an aviary outside that's
Yep.
the same size or even bigger.
Mm-hmm.
Aviaries beside.
It's all competition.
Yeah, and inside they have individual.
Yep.
Things, right?
It's all about a little bit of competition to keep both the hen and the cock motivated.
And this is what we're
Yeah.
going to show. We're going to show how you can have success both ways. Now, we want to introduce the special cock and hen that we are going to watch and follow along. Ryan, you take it away because I don't know a whole lot about them.
Okay, so again, the individual breeding section, breeding room we're going to focus on a pair of pigeons that we like to pair together. This is a very special pairing. This is going to be a father-daughter pairing. Richard's going to hand them over to me. And we'll do some more little updates on this guy here.
So I'm going to put both cameras there.
He hasn't been paired up.
Close up.
This is a beautiful, beautiful cock. He's bred super pigeons, good big money winners, grandsired to money winners, grandsired and sired combine winners, not only on the East Course, on the Up North Combine, in Philadelphia with Brian Myers. This is the Seagull. He's a beautiful, beautiful cock. And again, we wanted to follow a real nice pair. He's a mealy white flight. He's down from the Staff Van Reets, from Dean Pallet, from the UK, down from the Voss Whitacott bloodlines. He's a real super, super cock. This is him. He's a 2009 cock. He keeps putting out good, solid, super pigeons. This is him here. He is going to be.
He's the father of
the hen we're going to show here now.
Of the mealy pied cock last year.
And that is
Yeah.
a 2009? No.
2009 cock. Nobody would believe the vibration in this bird's wing. He runs like a Harley Davidson or an Indian motorcycle. Actually, I think that's better for him.
He feels like a 3-year-old.
He feels like a 3-year-old. He's got a super rich eye, and we're going to show on maybe the next episode. You can hang on to him for a second. He's just full of vitality. He's awesome. He has character. He's got a super eyesight. He really has it all. And the hen that he's going to go to is his daughter.
The hen. So we want to introduce you to the hen that you're going to be following along. Who's this?
This is Miss San Diego again from 2011. One of the very best hens in the San Diego Holiday Cup race. If you ask Ahmad, this was, he said to me, one of the very best pigeons. This pigeon had 7 firsts, not equal firsts, first in the clock. She bred an equal first at the California Classic, winning a boatload of money, again for Brian Myers of Philadelphia.
She's very intelligent.
She's intelligent. She'll pair to you. She'll pair to me. She'll pair to a duck.
I gotta watch it because she's got to go. She got to go to her cock soon because she'll mate up to me,
and we'll get clear eggs.
And she will get clear eggs, of course. She'll drop eggs.
Here she is again. This is a father-daughter mating.
Just listen to her when she.
And I'm going to put her in the basket ahead of us, and I'll bring this double camera over here, Leanne. Let's see. Normally, she likes to put on what I call a little bit of a show. I don't know if she's camera shy.
Listen.
Now, this is what I call one hell of a hen bird.
So
well, I know when she came back from.
Guys,
Go ahead, Leah.
I have a very green question for you. You had said that if you keep talking, she will lay eggs and lay clear eggs. Why does that happen?
Because she knows me. You see how she is?
You know what she's saying, Leah? She's saying, if you fly widowhood hens, this hen here, she's going to give you a whole new gear because she loves human interaction. She loves the attention. You know, Leah, she's kind of like those people on Facebook, you know, they take all their pictures and they like to look good. This is her.
I know when we got her back from San Diego, we had a friend in the garage here.
Yeah.
He said, well, we just got this hen back. She did this and she did that. And we put her in the show cage to take a look at her. And all of a sudden she started this cooing. And the fella said to me, that's not a hen, that's a cock.
Yeah.
And I said, it's a hen. He said, look, take a look, it's a cock. I said, yeah, it is a cock. I thought it was a hen. And now, I mean, she's a hen. I mean, how many, you know? She's
a hen. She bred multiple winners. She bred 2 of the top pigeons in the Vegas Classic race. Desert Rose put on. He had a smash at the 300, lost all the birds except for 1. But she had a pair of nestmates there that were equal first at the 1, equal first at the 150, equal first at the 275 or the 250. This hen here, she's bred good. She has real character, and we want to put a father-daughter mating together.
Now, if anyone, the people that don't know, just wait a minute. the people that don't know and they're getting into pigeons, this is how you hold a pigeon. Okay, like this. You put those 2 feet.
Okay, they can't see on that camera.
You can't see it.
You have to go on the
Well,
big,
sure.
on the
When you
big
go to-
camera.
Pardon?
The big
Let me
camera.
just
When you
show.
go to
You're
hand a
showing.
man a pigeon, you always hand it like this.
face first,
Okay. You don't hand it like this.
backwards. Okay,
Okay.
so they can't see that on the camera.
Okay,
'cause
we're
we're
No,
moving a
I'm-
bit
I
quick.
can,
Okay,
I'm
go.
sure I can see it. I can see it.
Okay, so always remember when you're handing pigeons to people.
Do you want me to put which camera do you want me to put on?
Oh, we'll put him beside her and let's see what they do.
Okay, hang on a minute here.
But I'm just saying for people that don't know they're the beginners,
There you go.
I know beginner people, they hand me a pigeon backwards and I say, hey.
Well, let's see. You don't mind, do you, Rick?
Ooh. Whoa,
There we go.
whoa, take a look at her.
Oh, hang on now. I gotta do a split again. There we go.
I think we're gonna have a nice pair here, my friend.
Now, a question: have they mated before?
We're not gonna answer that question just yet, but we're gonna tell you this right now. This is a very, very special mating. You can see she's got the class, boy, and he's got it as well. Anybody that comes down and wants to handle a pair of pigeons, I think this is a super pair. Yes, they are a little close in the color. Their eyes are slightly different. He's got, but there you go.
Oh, but she's being a bit aggressive there, eh?
Oh, of course, she's going to be a bit aggressive. She's probably one of the best pigeons to ever fly the San Diego Holiday Cup, run by Steve Miner and Ahmad. Again, it was an amazing time when this hen won. Victor Valenzuela offered us double the money for the hen to buy her. She was that nice when he handled her. He said, "I never seen a pigeon in such super form." This hen forms up even at this age. When you put her into a basket, she blows right out. The feathers part on the chest. But this is the pair we're going to follow. We're going to watch how they breed. Again, the babies are not for sale. We're not here to sell the babies. We just wanted to put a pair.
Mike Vanderyak asked what happens to the first round.
Well, no, we want to show people again.
The big camera.
Sorry, wrong camera. No, but we wanted to show a pair of pigeons. We don't have tons of pairs of pigeons that are supers that we want to put together. This is a pair we want to focus on, and that's what we're gonna do. You know what's great? Both of these have bred winners. They're race winners. He was a late bred that was bred and just started to breed winning pigeons. And what we want to do is follow from start to finish in that breeding section and see how it goes.
Now, I'm also interested, are we also going to follow, or can we also concentrate on maybe new breeders? Because these guys, they're older, and I know there's been a lot of questions about new breeders and what happens with new breeders with the hens when they lay eggs. If there's blood on the eggs, should we panic?
Yeah.
So I think those are also questions that we should
Right.
talk about.
But now, Leah, you make a great point. I had a guy the other day. He said to me, "Ryan, I got a big problem." And I said, "Well, what's the problem?" I'm thinking head twisting and this and that.
Yeah.
He said to me, "You will not believe this. My hen laid eggs. They had blood on the eggs. Oh boy, what's going to happen? The insides of it are going to fall out. It's over. It's done." Ricky, what does it mean? And I asked him.
Normal.
I said to him,
First time laying eggs.
"First time laying eggs."
That's a normal thing.
Right. There's
Usually
ripping. There's tearing.
Yeah, the first egg is usually got some blood on it.
Some blood. So if that happens to you, it don't matter if you have fantails, medinas, powders, racing pigeons, wild pigeons, probably canaries, any breed.
The first egg.
Eggs can have blood on them. Don't panic. Don't call me. It's okay.
Normal.
Normal.
There's nothing wrong with them. There's nothing wrong with the hen. It's Mother Nature.
Well, she's going to give him a hard time. She might not made up.
She might not made up to him. Look at her go.
So
She's gonna
we have a question from Shaquille. He said, "Good question. I was thinking the same. How old the age should be for breeding? What is the optimal age?" Because you've got there a 2009 and a 2011.
11.
Leah, don't date them, man. You're making me feel bad. No, Shaquille, great question. And again, I guess we should get into that when you're looking at the wing of a pigeon. The wing is kind of like the aging of a pigeon. You can tell how old they are roughly. But a pigeon, if we did time, after about what would you say, about 6 months, anywhere from 5 months to 7 months, you're going to start to get those hens. They're going to be mature enough to actually do the whole cycle.
Yeah, I think they're mature starting at about 6 months old.
6 months. I mean, you could get them if they're mature hens and they're a little bit different at 5.5 months. But you're going to see 6, 7 months is when the hens will lay those eggs. Again, if you're trying to pair a hen up at 4 months, she may be turned on enough. She may be, but she won't lay.
She's too young.
I'm enjoying the show behind me.
6 months old, the start. I like to mate a young hen like that, maybe 8 months old,
Yeah,
to an older cockbird.
yeah.
Last year, this guy was mated to his great-granddaughter.
Great-granddaughter, which
Yeah.
was also his granddaughter. It was a super inbred. And you want to know how old she was? 6 months old. And you know what? She took to him, and she bred some. That cock we had last year that flew real good.
He flew 9 races.
9
in a
races, yeah. A real tough Oshawa
row.
Gold Band.
Never showed tired.
Never showed tired.
Yeah.
And you know what? A real good sign. Same like this hen, same like him. They don't feel their age. They don't feel the wear and tear. You put in 9 hours in an open race. You've picked him up. You know what he felt like? He almost felt better than when you sent him.
So
That's how good he felt.
But okay, so that's how young. How old is too old?
What,
Or
to
you
fly?
do- No,
How old
to
to
breed.
breed?
Like,
Oh, to
or
breed.
you just breed until they're.
Well,
Listen.
as long as I got an old cockbird outside there. He's what, 14 years old,
14 years old, yeah.
and he's happy. He breeds like
A good
It's-
question for our audience. What is the oldest bird pigeon that you have bred? The oldest breeder in your loft?
The
I'm-
oldest one was from Dean Pallet. We had, and believe it or not, we sold him to Trinidad. The guy's got babies out of him. He was a 2004, and he's still breeding this year.
I can't remember. I remember that
Well, Leah,
gay-pied cock we had, and he died.
Bill,
Yeah,
from Bill Sheridan.
Bill Sheridan gave it to Ryan as a gift.
Yeah, a gay pied cock.
When Ryan was about 2 years old, come over and gave him this gay-pied cock,
We called him Bill.
Bill, and he lived to be, believe it or not, 25 years old. He was blind
Yeah.
at 21 years, and I didn't. I wanted just
Keep him happy.
keep him respect. He got a hen. He'd get a hen in the spring on the floor,
Yeah.
and he would still do what he had to do. She was shooting blanks, but I mean, he got maybe 1 egg out of 3 or 4 rounds.
Right. Every once in a while, you get a pair of babies, 25 years old.
Yeah, and what happened? What got him in the end? Weasel got in
Done.
and got him on the floor.
So
And that's what got him in the end.
I have a couple comments and a great question from Mark Bombach. So Robert Daughtry says that he had a West of England tumbler. He was 21. So, bred
Yeah.
until 21. Dave Ottaway says, I breed by type and pedigree. Age means nothing. I think you'll
Okay.
agree with
I
that as
I
well.
believe that too. And Dave Ottaway will say something. He had a bird. I believe he called him Butch or whatever he was, and I think he was still breeding for Dave at 20 years old. I remember he had him in a
Dave, come on.
special room up in the barn, and he had a small fly pen for him that was only 15 inches wide by like a rabbit
Yeah,
cage,
yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
I think his name was a blue bar cock. And Dave said, come on over, take a look at him. And he said, believe it or not, in this cock, at that age, he still had, I mean,
He was built like a bar,
he
still
was-
like a steel
yeah,
bar.
Yeah. Now,
I'm
know
sure
that-
Dave will chime in once he hears this because there is a bit of a delay. But I want to get to this question from Mark Bombach. For people that don't know, What do you guys do for a hen that is egg bound? And the leading cause of a hen to go egg bound could be a young or an old hen.
Well, an old hen will get egg bound because there's something happens there in the back end. Sometimes if you take, like, don't do it. Don't get a good hen and say, guess what? I'm going to get as many eggs. She drops eggs, I switch them. She drops eggs, I switch them. She drops eggs, I switch them. You can get 10 rounds out of her, but by the end of it,
You got no more hen
her
left.
whole insides and everything's
Done.
shot.
Yeah.
They get egg bound.
Would you say in a year, say anywhere from 4 to 6 rounds, space them out. Every once in a while, you got to let her feed around. Take your time with it. Don't push. The other
I
thing
think
is,
6 rounds is way too
well,
many.
6 rounds in a whole year. If you take a calendar year, it'll work.
Yeah,
but
you're not going to breed them year round. That's
No,
what
no,
I'm saying.
no. This hen here, we could breed her all year round. Don't stop her. If you're trying to go 6 rounds out of a hen and get them in a race year, you're going to smoke the hen out. But in a year, you're okay.
But I'm going to argue with you. You wouldn't put them for a whole year.
This hen here, any baby she gets,
I know
you're going to stock it, or you're going to fly it, or you're going to stock it. If they're too late, how many times have you taken hens out of the babies out of this hen, and you go, we're in October. Are you going to throw the eggs out? What are you doing? No, you're keeping them.
I got young ones.
Right, but and
that
another
are
thing you got to watch
hatch in
too
September.
is like the Kenora hen. You fly them till they're egg bound. Till they can't lay eggs.
Yeah. So I had a hen one time that she flew. Her just in racing.
I'll be
Forget
right
about
back.
training. She flew 21,000 miles in racing. So what are we talking? 40 kilometers, 40, 50 kilometers, 45 kilometers, 45,000 kilometers in racing alone. Forget about training up the road, forget about all those tosses up to 50 miles, 30 miles, whatever it was. And by the time she was 4 years old, she wouldn't lay an egg anymore. Her body had worked hard, and internally, it's like gymnasts. They say if you take a female, and she does she's big into gymnastics, and a lot of these Olympic gymnastics people, the ones that jump, then they do all those twirls, and they, you know what I mean, that they ruin their insides because they worked them so hard. And so I had this hen, and what would happen is she loved to fly. She flew Long Lac 4 times and in her life, and she did Kenora once.
How far are those races?
Long Lac is about 520 miles to my place. She did that 4 times. She did Kenora once, which was 850 miles. But prior to that, she did Fraser-Dale's 450 miles. She did Hearst 435. She did all those. So she flew, and then she couldn't lay eggs. So she'd go
to lay.
Made her up to the cock. Cock would drive her. She'd go and sit in the box. I'd see her getting humped in the back, like just above her tail. She started getting humped. She'd sit there. She'd
Try to
sit
lay.
there. Well, I don't know what. She thought she had to lay. And then I would give her a pod egg or a dummy egg.
Mm-hmm.
I'd put that under her. Bang.
She'd sit the egg. She'd raise the baby. She'd
she'd-
go into the whole cycle.
Yeah, she'd do the whole thing, but it wouldn't be her egg. She couldn't lay. If I wouldn't give her an egg, I'm sure she sat there for weeks with cramps. She thought she had to lay. So what Mark's asking, what happens if they get egg bound? I always say, once they're egg bound, but when they're egg bound, you feel in the back end how they get all puffed up and all that. I'd say she's almost done, or she got something wrong. Maybe somebody else has got an answer.
Maybe someone's got an answer.
That's
Yeah.
right.
I don't know.
I don't know what to say.
You got to watch how hard you push those hens too.
If you over push them,
They're done.
and a lot of times, if you want to keep them going, if they keep going, let them do the cycle from start right to finish. In
Yeah.
other words, leave the young ones with them, and these young ones, leave them with them.
And sometimes bang
Until-
triggers it to go.
Right, no, but what I'm saying is easier on the hen. If she's dropping eggs and you take the eggs away right away and then make her go down again,
Yeah.
so the
Okay,
cycle
so-
is how many days, you know?
We have from Mark Bobak, he says, if any hen is egg bound, to help her, we have done in the past, give them an eyedropper full of liquid calcium down her throat 2 to 3 times a day. Even if you find her hunched over in the nest bowl, it forces contractions and she will lay the egg.
we're
Liquid
gonna
calcium.
try that.
Yeah,
I've
you
never
know
done
what? We never done that. You know what? You want to know what's great about the show? 60, 65 years, 70 years, you had pigeons. We've had it together over 100 years. Did you just guess what? You're pretty good, aren't you? I'm
learned.
pretty damn good.
I just
And
learned
and now and
Thank you.
Dave Ottaway says steam them and put cooking oil on a Q-tip up her ring gently, lube up the channel.
Another good. And you know what?
I'm wondering if these hens that get egg bound, maybe because they don't have enough exercise,
Movement.
right? Movement. And the other thing could be is,
You know,
I'm thinking
Mhm.
if the hens have too much weight, right? They can't pass eggs properly. That could be another question.
And again, two things you hit here. And Dave and Mark, those are great things. And we learned today. And I want to thank you guys for that.
Those are some good tips. I remember.
Great tips.
I remember years ago. I'm going to change the subject.
Can I finish?
Okay,
Or you want to bust in? I know we were at Xavier Verstraet's loft.
Right.
And on the top of his house, his breeders are all up in the attic of his home. And you go out his backyard and you look at his house,
The back of his house.
the back of his house. And on the top of the back of his house is an aviary that is probably 20 feet wide by 40 feet long, 10 feet high. And it's a huge, big aviary.
Covers the whole back.
Covers the whole back. Now, we all can't do that. I understand that.
Yeah.
But he had that aviary for those pigeons. It was very important to him that all the breeders can get out and feel like pigeons. He would love to have them go out and loft fly. You don't want to lose them to hawks. Don't want to lose national winners to hawks or key breeders. I get that.
And he had them in his house because he had problems prior where
Getting
people broke in.
Broken, getting stolen. So there's one point. Another point is, again, and we haven't touched on this, in all the parts of breeding, cocks drive hens to make the hens lose weight.
That's right.
Guys, before you put your hens together, if they're fat butterball hens, you're doing a disservice to the hens. Remember, Mother Nature makes winter for one reason: to lighten everything up.
So in spring,
It's time to breed. When the daylight becomes right, and the time's right, and the mood's right, the hens and the cocks are, what are they? They're in the right body weight.
I mean, you got to look at it this way too. We got, robins, a lot of them, some of them don't go south anymore, but if they're here in the wintertime, they can't find feed the right way,
Mm-hmm.
and they automatically lose weight.
Mm-hmm.
The ones that do go south, your red-winged blackbirds
Yeah.
and other birds like that, I'm using the birds,
Mm-hmm.
they have to fly back.
That's burning calories.
Maybe 500 miles.
Yeah.
Maybe they got to fly back 1,000 miles.
Mm-hmm.
We
The
don't know.
geese.
Right. Or you know the barn swallows?
Yep.
Yeah. So what happens is on their journey back,
They burn the fat off.
wherever they went, they found food, they eat bugs, they got a little bit fat.
They bulked up a bit.
And when they fly back,
Mm-hmm.
they lose that, they lose it. And that's how they could pass eggs good. They, look at your rabbits. In the winter, they got to eat bark off the trees. They got coyotes. It's hard for them. They got to try and hunt, chase deer in the snow.
hawk. The hawk that stalks your loft. You dial it back.
Right. So what I'm saying is, or what you said about having fat pigeons in the loft. When you have fat pigeons in the loft, it's you.
That's your fault.
Yeah.
You're playing Mother Nature, aren't you?
Races are won in the winter. A lot of them. Won by controlling that feed and
The
again.
diets and everything.
Again, I'm saying a pigeon that can't pass an egg, if it's 3 years old, she can't pass an egg. One reason could be she's fat.
It's you. Again, we do it here, guys. Ricky, when I say snow day to you, what does it mean? Today's a snow day. What do you do on a snow day?
Lots of times, one day a week,
What do
I
you
don't
do?
feed.
You don't feed.
I don't
Snow
feed.
day. And when you are feeding, you don't overfeed them.
I only feed my birds about half a crop a day in the wintertime. I never fill them up.
Nope.
I handle my birds while I'm feeding, and I can feel it, and that's it. That's it.
Remember, they're parked, they're sitting. Yes, they gotta keep warm. We don't feed them straight barley. We don't feed them super light feeds. You know what? We give a little reindeer corn. We give a little peas. We give a little bit of good stuff. You're better to give them good stuff and give them less. Then give them.
Now we got the pairs together. Once they're down on eggs now,
We start to
I know.
build. We start to stoke the fire.
I know roughly when the young ones are going to hatch.
But
About 5 days before, I
Okay.
start feeding up a bit.
Stoke the fire.
Yeah, and
Guys.
now I can go out.
Hold
straight-
on. We got Leah here.
I think that is very good advice because you guys have found the formula and how that works. But however, I do not want to give the advice to new people to say you need to starve your birds in the winter because you don't want them fat, because if they're fat, they're not going to breed properly. I think it's neglectful of us to not say, well, how to feed them properly, because you've got how many years experience on figuring that out. And I don't want people not succeeding because we advise them, you know, don't feed your birds too much in the wintertime because they'll be fat.
When a pigeon's not, when he's sitting around in the wintertime, feed him no more than an ounce of feed a day. And that's a weighed ounce, not the shot glass. You know, your shot glass, you have a shot of tequila. That's a liquid ounce. If you feed him a liquid ounce,
You
put
give
your
it
grains,
less. It's less.
less. He's going to starve
Oh,
to
hey,
death.
you want to know what's amazing? Do an ounce, a liquid ounce of peas. Do a liquid ounce of corn, hemp seed, rice, whatever.
Right.
You get all different amounts of grains, and you got to watch that. We've played with ounces before in pigeons, and you got to really, really watch in feeding. And again, you gotta feel the pigeons. You're feeling for the weight.
Right.
We study the pigeons. You know what? There's sometimes maybe in that week it was minus 30 all week. He won't skip them that week.
No.
You have to. You know what I mean, Leah? You have to use
So,
that
Dave
common sense.
Dave says 2 tablespoons per bird per day.
Tablespoons or soup spoons.
No, it's the
I
same
use
thing.
soup spoons.
Yeah.
I
So
think
we'll
that's the same as the tablespoon, I think.
No, is it?
I
maybe
think so.
a lot of the guys in Europe, you'll see.
What's it?
They'll
a
do.
tea-
They'll
a
do-
teaspoon is one thing. A tablespoon is that maybe that's my soup spoon.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
That's
So
your
yeah,
soup spoon.
and we're a lot like that. We'll do a soup spoon. We like to do a soup spoon in the morning, a soup spoon at night, or we'll do it that way.
But Dave's right on that one. He's right, and
Two
yeah.
two tablespoons a day. That's right.
Tablespoon. So I
soup
call
in
it
the
a
morning.
soup spoon.
Yeah, okay.
what's bigger than a soup spoon?
No, that's
You got your teaspoon.
A ladle.
Well, Dave says the soup spoon is bigger, but Dad, I'm pretty sure it's a
Whatever. We're
That's
fairly
interesting.
close.
very close.
Is that,
And by the way, I'll say something. Every time you go feed your pigeons, you want to know when you got them real good. They'll eat your shoe. They should be looking at your shoelaces, picking at your shoelaces. They should be saying to you, "Hey, how's it going?
Well,
can I have something?
Like I
need
said,
something."
I said, what was his name?
gonna
Vanderbeek.
grab
Was
a
it
water.
Vanderbeek? No, Ozzy.
Ozzy
Vanderbeek.
He killed
Yeah.
it.
No, he said, and I'm saying that's where in the winter you learn something. He said, this is the nice hen. I don't have her brother anymore because I stepped on his head when I was feeding. So right there, like when I feed my birds, I walk through the section. If I walk through while it's feed time, I have to shuffle my feet. I have to say, okay, please watch, move. My pigeons are in beautiful body weight. Well, there she is right there. How
She's-
old is she? She's 8 years old now.
Let's do that 11. We're gonna let her go see your dad.
No,
for a
I
minute.
wouldn't put her in
I'll
there
let her
yet,
go
no.
see him for a minute.
Yeah, so Dave's, yeah.
I don't think she minds them.
No, look at.
She's a real character pigeon. And you know what, guys? Keeping your birds in the right weight is a big part of breeding. It's more than giving. It's more important than almost everything, because if they're overweight,
Pigeons are like.
hey, come on, eat a lot of food. You know, get fat
You
and
don't-
big. Do you
yeah,
want
you
to
don't
breed?
feel like doing
You just
nothing.
want to sit on the couch and watch some television.
Right.
Oh, look.
Better get her out of there. He's pushing her.
She's talking. Don't worry, they're talking, and we're showing this
But,
here. This is what we want to show.
yeah, you're right.
Look, she's squatting for him. Look. Oh,
Oh no.
hold
This is
on.
X-rated.
We're putting on a show here tonight. Boy, can you
This
feel
is
it?
this is absolutely breeding 101.
X-rated.
You're seeing it live here, folks.
X-rated.
X-rated, guys. Leah.
But
I did it
Dave
today.
didn't comment. I think that bird's name was Butch or something. He called him. He had him up in the barn. He
I'm
showed.
sorry, he did comment, but you were busy chit chatting. But yes,
Yeah.
that absolutely was. Yes, Butch and Old Bader.
And how old was he when he passed away? Because I think when Dave took me up there, he was around 20 years old. That bird.
I don't. We're gonna have to wait for that answer because we got a 45-second delay.
Look at this pair, Leah. Look at this pair. She loves them, boy.
No, she doesn't.
She just squatted
she's
for
pushing him. Yeah.
She's pushing him. She says, "Hey, guess what?
I want to leave. I want to have
We
some
all
babies.
we all want a woman like
I
this."
want to have some youngsters.
Yeah, that's right.
There you go.
So-
You're gonna watch it and follow along live.
So we
With us.
found out about egg boundness, and I've never ever had that with a younger pigeon. I've had it with pigeons that get up to be 10 years old. A hen that gets up that age, if she's lucky to lay, she'll get egg bound. I've had that, but I've never had it with pigeons that are, under 10 years old.
No,
You know?
Dave says 21, by the way.
21.
There you go.
Well, again, we talked
Nice
about
blue bar cock.
Leah. We talk about Mark Codwell, one of the very best sprint flyers in England's history. I would bet. He said to me, super pigeons, the real supers, they have this ability to live long and breed almost as long as they live. He had pigeons, I know Champion Bob, I think the bird was 19 and
He's
still filling.
Wow.
And I went to the man's place and I handled Apache, Dickie, Champion 44. You put them in your hands, they're like this guy here. They never aged in the hands. It was almost like time
All of a sudden,
passed
it's
them.
done.
Then,
When they went.
yeah, and literally they went like this: breeding. This year, dead, no more.
This one man in Belgium, top-notch flyer, years ago.
Years
and years ago.
ago. Years ago. Don't smile like that.
No.
Okay.
They asked him because he would keep them open hole in the wintertime. I guess he was in an area where there weren't any hawks,
Or less hawks,
or he didn't care, or whatever it was. He open holed his pigeons all winter, and he was a farmer. He had cattle.
Yes, good story
They
here.
asked him in the winter, what do you feed your pigeons? Do you give them any more feed or any less feed? He said, all I do is feed the cows a little more oats.
There's an underlying story there.
So you know what goes through the cow.
The unground up oats go
Oats go through the cow.
and the pigeons
And in the
feel.
paddock, his race birds,
Were-
open hole,
were
would
fielded.
fly into the
paddock?
Yeah, where the cow manure was, and they pick through the manure to get
More oats.
a little more oats, and that's
That's romantic. Well, it's what it was.
A question from Shaquille. Shaquille asked, do you do deworming before or after breeding? That's medicating is a good topic.
We do it normally before, and we don't get crazy on the deworming. We'll put it in the bath water. The birds will go and have a drink. Maybe we give them a bath. We'll pull the drinkers out for the day, give them a bath, They go into the bath. They have the first thing they do when they hit the bath is what? They take a drink. Always when you're deworming pigeons, they say you deworm 10 days. I always do. If you're going to deworm on the 9th, the 10th, and the 11th day. Deworm. Get rid of the worms.
I don't. I like to worm the young ones after.
Well, we're not talking youngsters. We're just talking overall. But
before breeding.
Yeah, we do worm a couple times a year. We do it before breeding, yeah, and then we do it during the breeding.
Now, how far ahead of breeding would you deworm? And I mean, let's break it right down. Why do you want to deworm or treat for worms before you breed? Let's break it right down.
You want to try and get your birds as clean and as healthy before breeding. That's what it's about. You want to get them cleaned out. You want to treat them maybe for a canker, maybe a cocci, respiratory. You want to vaccinate them. PNV, salmonella, PNV. You want to treat them, clean them out, and you do that, and this is what we say, as my dad says, races are won normally in the off season. Getting the weight right, getting them set up before breeding. You get those birds set up before breeding properly with the right time frame, the right vitamins, the right medications prior. When you go to breed, the success level goes up. You're allowing yourself to go up. But you have to plan it out. And a lot of the time, it's like using what we say is common sense. Think about it. I want to go to Mexico. I want to go to Mexico the first week of June. Right? When do we start to go to maybe the gym and start to work out? Do we go in May? Not really. We go in April? You know, if we go January 1st to that gym and we eat properly, and we do our exercises and we make it religious or we make it a habit, by the time it comes to go to Mexico, we're gonna lose our weight, we're gonna look good, we're gonna feel good. It's common sense.
So you should do this year round.
Yeah, but it's a schedule.
Dave says 4 weeks prior worm, and then 11 days after that again.
Yeah, 11 days, that's right. And like I said, the 9th, 10th, and 11th day in that time frame.
Right. All right.
No,
I like to give my pigeons, I give them apple cider vinegar every day in the water.
Well,
in about a 2-gallon jug, I give them about 1.5 ounces. I give it in there enough so it smells.
I'm not a big fan of the cider, but you are. And you're taking care of them and you're running it.
I give them grit.
Oh, hey, and by the way, I
times
will
a day.
say, I looked at those stock birds.
I put sulfur in the.
You love the sulfur. I love it too. I think sulfur's a big thing.
Put coarse salt in. So they got coarse salt. If they want to have salt, they can have the salts. Good, cleans them out, and keeps everything running. Beautiful.
There you go. Okay.
What else you got, Leah? You got anything else?
I think that's good for
today?
Episode number 5. We've been on almost an hour and a half. Join us at 8 o'clock on our Feathers Leap Pigeon Auction channel, where we will be showing you all the amazing lots in the Enemy Van He from Belgium online auction. That is on our Feathers Leap Pigeon Auction channel at 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. As always, you guys have been great. Dave says 3 tablespoons to 3-gallon pail. I guess.
Of what? Apple cider?
Yeah, of water.
3 tablespoons. To what? 3-gallon pail?
I always remember you don't.
So that's about 1.5 ounces what I use.
Yeah.
I have it so that I can just smell it.
Always remember, guys, take a teaspoon.
What? Go ahead. After that, say what you're going to say, and then I have a question.
Okay. Remember, when you're tasting the apple cider, taste it yourself first. Straight cider. It'll make your stomach curl. Watch when you put it in the water. It's not overly. You just want to taste it, not too bad. That's what I think. Go ahead, Leah.
For ourselves, it's good to take 1 ounce of apple cider vinegar.
Look at you. You've been on it.
Every day.
You're looking great. Go ahead, Leah.
Why do we worm a second time? If the worming medication stays
Well,
in
it's
the
for the
system
eggs.
for
Yeah,
3
what it is,
months,
yeah.
why worm
Worm-
a second time?
Worms lay eggs.
Yeah.
So you want to wipe that out before they hatch.
That's right. So you're gonna knock off the adult worms or whatever.
Then you
And
knock
then-
off the eggs they laid.
That's
so,
right.
and that's why I say you can worm the 9th day, the 10th day, and the 11th day. If you want to get a little bit real deep into it, go ahead, go to work, worm.
It's not going to hurt, right?
No. Worm yourself while you're at it if you want.
Okay, so what?
There you go.
Ricky, we better watch it. We're
Good
gonna-
advice.
We're going to get
Another
eggs.
question?
No.
We're going to
that's
get
it.
eggs.
Okay, so guys, if you have suggestions for topics on any of our shows, please send us a PM. We'll be happy to talk about it. Thanks, guys, so much. We are Leah, Ryan, and Loft Manager Richard from the Pioneer Racing Pigeon Club of Ontario. If you
100%.
missed the show, don't worry. We upload onto our YouTube channel, Feathers Lake Pigeon Auctions, under Breeding 101.
Hit the
Thanks very much.
subscribe link.
Hit the subscribe link. Oh, you know what we forgot to do? We forgot to give away hats.
Leah, we're going to give a toque away this time. I picked the guy out. We're going to give a toque just like this. He's a young guy. He's from way up where the snow falls, reindeer are. Owen, he's on our page all the time. He's always asking good questions. Owen, you're going to get a Pigeon Boss toque. I picked the name out of the hat. I picked his name. Because we need more 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20-year-olds in this sport because this is one hell of a damn good sport. The younger pigeon flyers we find, this sport's going to go on. And guys, you're watching this show. I want everyone that's watching this show to find someone to replace you. And this sport will go on. If you can't replace yourself,
We had a fella came over a couple days ago.
yep.
He had two cute little girls. Like one was 4 or getting close to 4, and the other one was 5 or 6 years old. And he brought them, and he seen the birds, and that's where it
That's the
starts.
sport.
That's the sport.
That's the sport.
And the other thing I found, if any of us out there, if you have a young child, and this is good for everyone, and you take them in the pigeon loft, the first thing they do when they're 2 years old is they go open their arms up and they start swinging their arms and all this and woof, and walking into the nest boxes. I find the worst thing you can do is grab them and tell them, you sit down and don't you do that. You've got to almost swallow and say,
Let them fall in love.
let them, yeah. I remember when Ryan was a little boy, he'd walk in there and he'd go in and get in the nest. Say, okay, go ahead, go in the nest box. And the hen would swat his hand, and then maybe he picked the egg up and say, oh, that's good, put it back. You want to make those young kids feel, right?
And if the kid drops the egg, or the kid goes into the loft and takes all the eggs out, and you know what? It screws your whole year. You want to know what you're doing? You're building a foundation of a pigeon man. The best race you can ever win is to create what?
Pigeon man.
A pigeon man. That's the best
Or
race
pigeon-
he's
pigeon
ever won.
woman.
Pigeon
Or
woman. That's the
woman.
best race he's ever won.
Woman, thank you. Or woman.
A person,
Yeah,
another pigeon
pigeon person.
another pigeon person. And if you can do
We
that,
got to watch what we say these days, because
Ricky,
now it's a
Leah?
little different story.
Oh,
Leah,
and
guess-
for many reasons, Dad, which
For
I'm
many
not going to
reasons.
get
We're not gonna
into,
get into that.
on
Leah?
this show, but
Leah, I'm going to tell you something. At 8 o'clock tonight, Feathers Elite Pigeon Auctions. Anime Van He is going to be in the house.
Right.
10 fantastic lots. I want everyone to tune in for this. We're going to have fun. We're going to look at the birds. It's going to be a blast.
You're going to do it tonight?
We're going to do it tonight, 8
Okay.
o'clock. And I'm inviting you. I'm inviting everyone that's tuned into this. Again, go to our YouTube channel, Feathers Elite Pigeon Auctions. Hit the subscribe link. Leah, you've done a great job today firing off those questions. Audience, thank you. Thank you to Dave. Thank you to Mike. I missed some people. Shaquille, thank you as well. Me and Richard and Leah, we all appreciate the interactive audience.
Right.
We're going to be on again tomorrow. We're gonna have some fun live at 5 again.
I remember when you were a little boy. We were driving in the car.
I can't end
Okay.
him, Leah.
No,
He
We're
won't
gonna
stop.
end it. We're gonna end it.
It was
Thanks,
We're gonna end it.
guys.
No, don't now. He was
We-
5 years old,
Oh, Lord.
and we're driving in the car. We're like Bayview and Eglinton.
Last story, go.
Last story. We're driving in the car, and there's a pair of plugs. And if anybody doesn't know what plugs are,
Wild pigeons.
wild pigeons, street pigeons.
Right.
Yeah. And he says to me, I couldn't believe it. He said, "Dad, look at that cock driving that hen."
Because he was clapping his wings and
Yeah,
gliding.
and he was
pushing the
right-
hen in,
right
he was
on the
pushing the hen in the air.
And he was 5 years old, and in my mind, I couldn't believe it. What
You had
came
already
out of
won
this-
that first race.
Yeah, what came out of
Hold
this
on.
kid's mouth. Yeah,
That's Richard.
yeah.
I'm Ryan. That's
Good
Leah.
night.
You guys are the best. Thanks for flying with us. Bye for now.